Welcome, everyone. Today we have a special guest, Hani Goldstein. Is it Goldstein or Goldstein?
You can pick whatever is more comfortable.
Oh
One is from
no,
New York, one
no.
is
There
from
has
Tel
to be
Aviv.
a true. Which is the real one?
Goldstein.
Goldstein.
Yes.
Okay, Goldstein. So our special guest today, Hani Goldstein, unicorn tech founder that's redefining the corporate gifting space world. I'm Alejandro Garcia-Amaya, founder of the Techstars Alumni and AnswerBite. My co-host is my brother Ricardo, fellow seasoned venture-backed tech founder who leads a number of powerful communities, including the YC alumni. Anything to add to that, Richie?
No, 10 years in Silicon Valley. Founder of the community of Y Combinator alumni, about 2,500, about 4 years ago. And yeah, started founder.
Awesome. We forgot to put music. Once again. Let's put something. Hani, we're gonna put something here. And for the audience out there, Hani, Hani, I am not saying honey. Just Honey.
For the record.
Just for the record out there. Okay, that is
He
not
might
how
look
I
like a guy
communicate
that
with
says
other
honey.
women.
He does live in Miami Beach.
Yeah. Wait, what song do you put? Give us something. Let's put some energy into this thing.
Come
What we got?
on, I'm really not a DJ, so I'm just.
Oh, yeah. I'm just feeling it.
There you go.
Nice.
That's my best beat. Is that what we call it if I'm a DJ?
Oh my God, you're not a DJ. You're absolutely right. Okay, so Hani, our community is made up of the top 1% venture-backed tech founders in the world, from Y Combinator and from Techstars. And let's jump into, I'm gonna give a little bit background on you before we start. So just sit back and feel a bit cringy hearing all the amazing things that you have done. And then we'll jump into your background and cover a little questions in range from the company and the customers and challenges and all that good stuff. Okay, so Hani Goldstein is the co-founder and CEO of Snappy. What happened? No, I did not say it. Hani Goldstein. No.
She thinks you said Goldstein.
That's why I made it easier for you.
Wait, what was it? I thought I said it right.
I thought it was Goldstein, unless
you're good, Richie.
Okay.
It is Goldstein?
Goldstein, yeah. So we went to Scarsdale High School.
I know. It's my friend Julian.
Probably.
You know what it is? My friend Julian Stein. He goes by Stein. I gotta call him after this. I know. No, he screwed it up. It's his fault. Okay, so Hani Goldstein is the co-founder and CEO of Snappy. Raised over 125 million for the leading gifting company, spreading joy through the power of giving and gratitude. Snappy offers a seamless gifting platform that combines fun, personal experiences, and advanced marketplace technology to take the guesswork out of gifting. The company has been named the fastest growing company in the New York region for 2 consecutive years and the 15th fastest growing company in America by Inc. magazine. That's really cool. Congrats on all you've done. Hani, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let's, for those that have never heard of Snappy, like what is it? What problem do you help solve for your customers?
Yeah, perfect. So Snappy is a gifting platform, takes away all the hassle from the process of giving gifts and makes it a one-click experience for the gift giver and a fun and special experience for the gift recipient. And what does it mean? I'm sure you all had the problem of wanting to give someone a gift, and there's lots of friction points on the way, like you don't know what to buy them, where to buy it, what's the size, what's the color, where to ship it. There's all these questions we have on the way that eventually make it extremely hard of a process. And the other side of the outcome, we see about 30% of gifts being returned. This is only gifts that actually went through the effort of going and getting returned. There's obviously lots of others that don't. It's about $100 billion just of gift returns in the US alone.
Wow.
Which makes it an extremely inefficient industry. Really, like there's obviously a big problem there that the world has not solved yet. And we think of different solutions in the market. There's gift cards that let the person that gets a gift choose something they want, but they kind of take the entire experience, make it super transactional and not personalized, not fun. It's not why you're giving someone a gift, right? To say, hey, here's $100. Like you wouldn't do that to Richie, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so
we've done that, but that's why we don't have many friends. We haven't
That's
had
why we
the
do this on Zoom.
we can help you get friends. So we really wanted to like take this entire process and keep the fun and personalized aspect of it. Keep that feeling when you were a kid and you opened a gift and you were super excited about it, but also make it super simple for the person who wants to give you a gift. And that's kind of why we built it, how it's built. To
And
address.
is this consumer? Is this within corporations? Like what's is it like B2C, B2B, B2C2B? I don't know.
It's all of it. Well, we have both a consumer and a B2B solution. I would say right now, 99% of our revenue comes from B2B customers.
Oh, from B2B. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was our focus for all of the last few years. Really, we found really good product market fit within large corporations that have, especially ones that have hundreds of thousands of employees, where they have this problem. Like what I just presented is a problem each one of us have. But now let's say you're a corporation that has 70,000 employees that you need to make sure each one gets something that they like, and they're located in different countries, and you need to go for procurement and data, in each of these locations and get gifts, and it's just impossible of a process to handle. And we really take off all the load and make it extremely easy for them. Literally takes one click of a button, you can send 20,000 gifts anywhere in the world that
It's
you want.
amazing. As a startup founder, we all experience the direction in which the ICP takes us, or the product changes. Was Snappy from day one targeting this, or was it like a data analytics company found a niche?
Was it a toy manufacturer that switched to
Was a
gifting?
company
lot of fun
that
stories.
developed ropes for ships. No.
There you go. Yeah.
I like it. Wow, that's a big change.
A
Yeah.
shipping container
And then we
logistics.
decided that a rope can be a gift, and we started. Okay, so we built it initially to serve the same exact problem as we are doing today, but we did start it as a consumer app for individuals to send gifts to each other, and then we realized that it's much easier to get to corporations. Not only that, obviously it was easier, but also we really saw a huge tick in requests coming from them that wanted to use the consumer app. And so one of the things that we found out was, because we came from the consumer world, we built this brand that was all consumer focused. We made the experience super fun and like joyful. And then you realize, hey, there's in the corporate world, this thing doesn't exist, right? It's all corporate. It all feels like a lot more boring. And so there was something very special and unique about our solution because it came from consumer, in my opinion, that drove a lot of attention. And basically just like a lot of companies asked for it, requested it, and we said, okay, we have one person who wants to send 10,000 gifts. So why don't
Wow.
we do that?
I always love asking this, which is, how did you sign up that first customer? So you tried the consumer route, and I tip my hat for anyone out there that is selling things to consumers, because it's a very emotional, it can be a very emotional sell. Consumers can like or love something one day, and then the next day there's something, there's a video of cats that takes all their attention. And so when you're doing B2B, my entire life has been B2B, selling to businesses. How did you decide when you did that switch and you said, you know what, let's go after companies? What sector, was there a particular sector that you went after? And who ended up, if you remember, who ended up being like one of your first customers, and how did that take place?
Yeah, of course I remember. every single one of the first minutes.
Yeah. It's
So,
trauma. It's a little bit of trauma.
yes. So actually there was a point in time, like we were really serious about building a consumer product. So for at least a year and a half, we bootstrapped Snappy to build this product and to launch it and to get some traction. And what eventually ended up happening, which we always during our journey heard from customers that they would like to use it, but we were like, no, we're doing consumer. You can go into our app and use our app. And then there was a point in time where we actually launched the consumer product and we had a TechCrunch article. And so that time was just like magical because we were waiting for so long to get it. And like the entire web filled with Snappy for 2 seconds exactly. And then we had all these companies that heard about it and were like, hey, can we also, it was just about holiday season. Like, can we use it for our employees? And then, eventually you're like, yes, you can use it. What
You're
you
like,
need, use
can you
it.
please back off? I'm trying to sell it to consumers. If there was only a sign
Consumers to pay
from
me.
above that could show the way. Yeah. Okay. So it turned out to be that there was then, so that's a perfect example. Holiday season, companies that want to make it easier for their employees to give gifts with one another from the company, and they were the ones that were pretty much knocking on
they
your
were the
door.
ones. And it was in the beginning, it was mainly HR leaders, employee engagement. Then it started to be marketers, people who want to use it for sales, even for customer acquisition and the B2B to C world. So it's becoming like more and more use cases that you see people kind of take Snappy to their own use case. But initially, the first few years were only employee appreciation. And so that helped us get into like this more community of HR leaders and kind of form our way to grow there.
Was it that holiday season when you kept seeing this interest that officially you said, all right, let's switch our attention and let's start servicing these companies?
Yes, although I can tell you I knew it from the start. I kind of ignored it. But like it was from the day one, even the pilot that we did, like the beta test before we launched it, was with a B2B company that said they wanted to use it. So it was more us trying to drive this vision. And
That's so interesting. What led you, why the consumer app? Like, why were you so driven for like, we want this? Was it like that was always part of your dream? I mean, you mentioned it's part of your vision, but was there anything associated with that?
I think like in the end of the day, the Snappy's vision still today is to be the leading gifting platform worldwide. It means a one-stop shop. Everyone who wants to send a gift comes to Snappy, right? When you think of, there's different services in the market. Like you need a ride, you're going to Uber. You need a place to stay, you're going to go to Airbnb. You need whatever.
Right.
There are companies that have been able to become category leaders in their space. And I think in the gifting space, it's quite unique because it's a massive space. It's about $500 billion just in the US, and only in the corporate world, it's $250 billion spent every single year on, like, there could be 250 companies doing $1 billion just in the corporate segment. So it's massive, and yet there hasn't been a leader that was able to really capture the entire space. And so the vision that we kind of set from day one is we want people to say gift and think of Snappy. That's the immediate response. And so for that, my true belief still is that you want to serve everyone. You don't want to serve only B2B customers. But I also acknowledge that it's gradual, and the more your brand gets recognized, the easier it is for consumers to adopt it. And that's like something that we're seeing more now.
When you started servicing these bigger, were they the first couple companies, were they actual enterprise level? Were they large corporations, or were they like mid-sized companies? Did you go straight to like, sure, there's a couple people for the holidays and they have thousands of employees, or what did it look like?
So the first customers were enterprise customers in a sense that it could be HP, or
Right.
companies like that. But we did not take 100,000 employees at the start. We took only like a handful. And then we started expanding and expanding. And there was also some sort of viral organic component where people got this Snappy gift and they told other people about it. And then other people in the organization wanted to use it, and it kind of spread naturally, which was pretty cool, especially when you're working with these larger customers. So many times it was like bottoms up, but yeah,
I love
mean,
that.
we
Was
didn't
that
hesitate to go to the like nice logos. So
that that referral, that component that you said where someone got a gift and then it's like you made it so that they wanted to share that with someone else. What did that look like, just to get a better visual? Because I know that when it comes to successful acquisition channels, you're trying everything, right? You're trying all these different channels, you're trying all the ways, and referrals, right? Maybe what's the best type of referral program that can be set up? And some companies, that's where all of it comes from, right? Like from referrals, but they make it easy, or they create this, almost they gamify the experience so that people want to share something, because not only are they getting credit for it or whatever for your software, but there's kind of that additional emotional piece. Was that something similar to that with the way you did it? How did that look like?
So there was a component like that, but I can't tell you that was the main driver. Like you are able to share the product with people, and then they get a gift and you get a gift for if they activate. But the main driver was actually people enjoying the experience so much that they were just excited about it. And there was an ability to like write nice thank you notes and things like that that close the loop, and people kind of start to share those experiences with others. And that drove inbound from their organizations or things like that. Obviously, we had more channel partners that sometimes there was a way, like if you would go to a conference and create that specific buzz, because we're giving something that's pretty cool. Like the experience is pretty cool on its own. By the way, I'll send you a gift afterwards so you can check it out.
Oh,
Oh.
ooh, oh, I like
then
this.
the
And for the
engine.
community, I like
Yeah,
it.
sure.
I love it. One last thing into this, and I know Richie will jump into like fundraising, because he's a numbers guy and he likes talking about
I only
numbers.
care about money.
Horrible.
Money, money, money.
That's his brand, DJing and money.
And money, perfect.
No,
I'm the
the other,
likable of the brothers.
what do you say?
I'm the likable of the brothers.
And he's the most likable.
That's what he does.
Yeah. We didn't bring our middle brother because it would just be a shit show in here. So the other question that I have is, as you pretty much began accepting companies that were reaching out to you, and you mentioned that it sounds like they're seasonal cycles, right? Like holiday seasons, I don't know, Valentine's Day, like I'm guessing there's certain major occasions in your space where you probably have the best opportunity to get in front of that potential customer. Did you ever try new products as you were signing these enterprises, and with small groups, like you said, like you start, and I think you mentioned the first ICP was like the HR person. It was
Yeah.
so like when you first started reaching out to HR people, and they kind of rolled this out with a few groups, maybe within the company itself. How long did you do that before you were thinking about either new products? And did you try, kind of, by new products, it's the same thing, right? Like enabling people to gift and make gifting a fun experience,
Yeah,
and all that.
different
But
persona or a different method of doing it, or connect like integrations with other software companies to help you do that.
right. And so my question to you is, how long from signing these first companies and like rolling this gifting software out, like the platform, the experience out there, how long was it when you then began thinking about exactly what you mentioned about like integrations or additional add-on things? And are there things that you tried that ended up being like a flop, right? That you're like, we tried that and we tried it on this many people and it wasn't going anywhere. So we kind of scratched that. Are there things like that that occurred to you?
So our main initial method was to be extremely focused in a way that was ridiculous. Like at times I was like, hey, why don't you do this and this and this and this and this and this and this? Like, yeah, we really, really want to do all these things. Like my dream is to do everything,
Right.
but we can't because we have such a massive market and we have to scale and we have to offer our solution. We have to be the best at offering our solution. If we start doing a million other things, we're just not going to be the best in our solution. So it took us a long time. I would say like extremely long, especially since most of the challenges we had were like scale and kind of being able to grab all the demand. It took us pretty long to say, hey, let's try this new product. Even though we had on our roadmap always like, hey, we are gonna connect to have a Salesforce app and Slack and Zapier and all these other companies, and we'll have an API and people can connect to us. And it was from day one, like my first deck, it's in there. But we did not want to touch these things so long as this is going so well and it's not stopping that you like just don't do anything.
And keeping up, to your point, keeping
yeah,
up
exactly.
with
keeping up to get it. And then after several years, that's when, you know, we've heard over and over again that people want to use it for sales and they would love to connect to their Salesforce and they would love it to for peer-to-peer and get reminders in Slack, and they would love to connect it to, and, you know, eventually when the opportunities were good enough, we kind of waited for a good opportunity to build these things. So this way we already have success because we have a very large customer that wants it. And we also know it's scalable because we heard it from we wouldn't build something only for a particular customer unless we know other customers would want to use it. And so those were the best, most successful launches we had. Swag, it's another big launch we had last year, and like the adoption of it was insane because everyone asked for it. And it was like, why don't you have this? We're using other platforms instead of you. Just give it to us and we'll use you for everything. You know, now the next thing that we have is experiences. Like I want to send, you know, skydiving, a trip, a vacation.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's like these are coming from customers and they are the best launches. Sometimes when we are super creative and we decide that we want to go after something and it didn't necessarily come from the customer, that's when, yeah, we built some stuff that no one used. Not too much, but we obviously we have built some stuff that
and we'll transition to fundraising, but one last thing related to that. If for founders that are out there and they're beginning to figure out what kind of they have those first initial customers in terms of a roadmap, what are things so that you think they should be asking themselves? You mentioned a couple things of like focus on one thing. Don't try and do 1,000 things, but are there things related to that you can share?
Yeah, I think focus and listening to the customer and what works, what doesn't work. You know, there's methods to do surveys and NPS to understand what the customer feels. Obviously, if it's enterprise, I would do business reviews and have like close connections with the account managers just to really be able to capture as much as possible from the customer. And that will help decide like, hey, if something comes up every single call and you lose deals because of it and you have churn because of it, you're going to build it, right? Like don't stay focused, build what the customer wants. But if things go well, then you should stay focused for as long as you can.
Got it. And don't go out, start building or trying something else that they haven't asked for.
When Alex started asking his question, I think you said, have you ever tried? I'm like, oh, that sounds like a VC question. Like instead of gifts, have you tried like the cookie market?
God.
You're like, oh, let me think about that.
Yeah, when a VC gives you an idea in your space.
Like cookies are good, delicious. A lot of people like cookies. You should probably try selling cookies. Like, hold on, let me write that down. Cookie, delicious, market, people like it. Nice.
Yeah. Have you thought about pushing your product forward during Valentine's Day? You're like,
no, we haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
Valentine's
because thought of growing your revenue and saving on your OpEx.
Yeah,
what do you say? What do you say?
Christmas.
No, we haven't thought about it.
Oh, really? Oh, come on. That's hilarious. Go for it, Richie. You're gonna.
Keep an eye out for Christmas. People give gifts in Christmas.
Yeah, holidays.
I mean, whatever. Write it down. It's my idea, but whatever. Go for it.
Let's
Just
just
run with it.
spitfire some ideas here.
You might just, collect
Let's
a couple of pieces
whiteboard
on your
this.
phone.
Holidays. Yeah, I get that.
No, speaking about fundraising, so you raised over 125 million, which is insane. Were you from day one venture backed, with your deck, and like how much traction, or at what point did it like pick up? If you mind sharing a little bit of that journey.
Yeah, happy to. So we were actually bootstrapped for about a year and a half. No fundraising, like we were literally took all of our savings and poured them into this. And then we got accepted to an accelerator that gave us like 100K. So still poured all our savings into
Which
it.
accelerator?
Um,
Is it out there anymore or no?
yes, it's called XRC. It's in New-
XRC?
Yes.
And I might have missed this, but you started in Tel Aviv, or were you
Oh, no,
in New York?
I lived in San Francisco.
Oh, in San Francisco. Okay.
And so I started it there, and then my partner was in Tel Aviv, and then we moved to New York to like after 2 years. The company, since its seed round, was in New York.
Got it.
So
Makes sense.
bootstrap
Yeah,
days
makes
were-
sense. You went to San Francisco, and I'm guessing you went to San Francisco to be in that ecosystem, to be in that whole tech hub and kind of have it rub off on you and meet individuals and all that. Was that?
But not at all a leading question. So feel free to give the actual answer to the question.
Well, I think I'm the only person who moved from San Francisco to New York in order to fundraise.
And during the fundraise.
And do
Wow. Wow. And at that moment you mentioned it was a seed. It was a seed round.
So we basically had the first year and a half, it was kind of like building the product and trying to test stuff. I was the designer, product manager. My co-founder was the developer. We did everything. We tested everything, and eventually we launched a product that was consumer. And then we got some traction, which was very cool. And then we decided to make the transition to the B2B space. And just like this was kind of the way we wanted to run it. We didn't want to raise money before. We weren't trying to. We were trying to actually build something and prove that what we're building is going to create value and that people would like it, and then grow from there. Sounded kind of crazy, honestly, but it was a lot of persistence and just like hanging in there, because it was not easy at all. And then after about almost 2 years, that's when we went into the B2B space. And at that point, it literally exploded. Like I had about 150 meetings with HR managers, and I was the only person who was taking these meetings a week.
Wow.
And so I didn't really have revenue traction so much. We had a little bit, but like nothing significant. But I go to meetings and I'm like, hey, look at my calendar. I have 150 meetings and I can't handle them. So it was very obvious that we knew how to build a lead generating machine, that there was lots of demand, that there was lots of excitement, people were interested in it. I think like proving that point, not necessarily bringing in the revenue, was what got us to the first.
That's a great example of momentum as opposed to just revenue as a traction. That's pretty cool.
And when you were fundraising, that's when it came to when did you decide to fundraise? Is it at that moment that you're describing now, where you have all these people, you can't do a million things at once that it's requiring from you? That's when you go out and fundraise?
Yes, but we kind of planned for all those things to happen. So we were preparing for a fundraise, and then we said, okay, now we're gonna go get this uptick of customers, and then we do it together.
I can definitely see why
we're kind of creating momentum throughout the process, and it's not like it was like every day we were signing 3 customers, and we're just a very young company, so it was pretty exciting to have these updates and like really serious companies considering us.
I love that. So as you were signing these companies, you were fundraising, which made those updates to those investors 10 times more enticing when they kept seeing how fast this thing was rolling.
Like, hey,
create the
LinkedIn is the
momentum.
customer now. Oh, Microsoft the customer. Oh, you know, all these like
Nice.
companies coming. So it was.
And I
like,
could see how in Silicon Valley, you know, gift giving wouldn't necessarily, this is a hypothesis. We have founders in Silicon Valley have no friends and we don't receive gifts. So why would you fund that? It's a losing
That's why I
proposition.
ran away to New York. Yeah.
You have to go to New York. We don't know what that is. What is that?
I'm sure you had trouble convincing investors about that. But why
But
would
why?
I give something to someone? Because
For
you
free.
love them and because you
Because
want
of
them to.
emotions, because of, you know, I don't know. Ah, fuck it.
No, it's funny. But the first day I came to New York, I had, and everyone says about New York that it's like not a friendly city. It's actually very friendly. I went into an elevator and someone looked at me and they said hello. And I'm like, oh my God. You just said
Yeah, it's true. I agree with you. I agree with you. It gets a bad rep
Bad rip.
on the fact because it's not true. I agree with you. I
We
mean, you
both lived
also
there.
get
Love it.
people, and there's the New York screaming at you. They're not really screaming at you. At least that's how you want to frame it. Like if you're ordering bagels, you know, it's like the speed is insane.
I
Yeah,
love the
it's
speed of New York. Yeah.
yeah, that's wild. Okay, do you have any other fundraising questions, Richie?
No, go for it.
As you go through a fundraising process and that seed, what were you able to raise in that seed? Now you build that momentum.
this
It's
is
sexy brands.
2015. So it was before like the crazy seeds of $8 million seeds or 20. It was a $1.5 million seed.
Wow. Yeah, no, but that's how it is. And that's how quickly things move too. It's just insane. So
Yeah.
$1.5 million seed. From that moment, who was your first non-founder hire and why?
So the first people I hired was sales, but not one. You need two people in sales because you need to know if they're good, then you need to have them kind of compete with each other in a good way, in a healthy way, just like to get some understanding of what's happening. And someone for operations and someone for finance. Those were my like
In
developer
one
guys.
batch. Those were the
Yeah.
I love that. Two people for sales, for comparison and for competition.
Yeah. You just don't know if you only have one. How do you know if they're good or not?
Yep, that's great. I love that. As the company size, the team size grew, did you experience responsibilities as a CEO change and like as a founder, or how did you manage that? Because I want to go more towards like the scaling challenges of things.
Mhm.
So now you had a company, you raised seed and it was 1 point something million you raised, you hired 4 or 5 additional individuals. But as the company grows, things change, right? And so like what were some of the challenges that for founders out there that are beginning to go through that expansion phase of building their teams? What are some pitfalls you think they should avoid or just to be aware of?
So first of all, like, yes, the role changes all the time. It constantly changes. It still changes from when you're in the beginning, you're doing everything. Like I mentioned, you're the designer, you're the PM, you're the customer success rep, you're the salesperson, you're the HR, like you're just doing every single role. And then you hire people to do these roles and you have to kind of be more, get out of the day-to-day stuff and become more of a manager. And then you start building your team and setting the culture. I think every company goes through this phase of like setting the culture that it's not something you would think about, right? Because like, what's the problem? Just growing, getting nice people that I like, right? But there is a very big difference when you're 10 people or when you're 100 people or when you're 300 people, because when you're 10 people, you're working together with friends and like the dynamics are just super natural and you're having fun and you're doing stuff and things are just moving super fast. And then you add more people. And then one part of like the culture, setting the culture, in my opinion, is just to acknowledge that you need to define what the culture of your company needs to be. And I think it's not trivial because you would think that it comes natural, But when you have 40 people, they actually expect you to define what the culture is. What am I supposed to do here? What am I not supposed to do here? And once you write it, like literally write it in, so put it in front of them, these are my expectations, and also not be tolerant to things that are not accepted is a phase that a company goes through. And then you understand you're doing HR all day, so you need to hire HR as well, and hire an executive team. Obviously, there's always different focuses from like culture perspective, from creating processes that are scalable, automation, implementing just different efficiencies. Because like we got to a point where we would hire about 50 people just to place orders because it wasn't automated, which is ridiculous and it doesn't scale. So you kind of say, okay, stop what you're doing. We are going to automate this now. And we're not doing anything else until we're automating, because we don't want 50 people just to place orders, right? So I think like, yeah, every phase is, if you build it right, then you make sure you can scale to the next phase and not get stuck there.
Yeah, with those, as the number of team members grow, I'm sure it also gets more difficult in terms of information floating up to the CEO. And I've been an entrepreneur now for 20 years, 10 of tech startups of different sizes, and one of my favorite questions is asking CEO and founders, like, had there been a time where very important information never made it to you in time, and as a result, it caused a big issue? Jeff from Vimeo, for example, that was a pretty cool one. He mentioned, what is it that he, like the acquisition, he sold this company for, I think it was like 40, and it could have gone to like 100 if, the piece of information that he didn't know about some numbers.
If it would got to him, like, it was like a
exactly. That
loss
was a
of
one.
double what the valuation would have been.
It never got to him, and the founder would get around some partnership that they did with the set of going sideways, and he only learned like later, and he's like, that caused like a year's worth of problems. Is there anything that comes to mind? I mean, not to go into detail, but something like that.
I don't recall something specific that would have made like a massive change. I think there sometimes, and not too often, actually, I feel I can't say our flow of information is excellent. It's definitely not excellent, but but I think when the big stuff happen, I'm aware, and if not, it's not like a huge, I don't know if there was a huge thing. I know when if something happens with a customer and then I don't know it, then it's hard for me to actually be able to help. Because sometimes, just someone coming from the outside and saying like, hey, we're really sorry, and we're going to do this and this and this to make it better, and is helpful. And if you don't do that, then you're kind of, going back and forth with the customer and not really helping them. They could get frustrated. And then eventually it comes to me because the customer writes to me. Somehow they find me and they write to me. So that happens, I would say it happens enough. But yeah, nothing that would
as CEO, as I am that person that writes directly to the CEOs, because I'm just like, I need to get this.
I like it, actually.
I have no empathy for other CEOs, because I get those emails and I love them when people just go like, here, this is not working out. And I'm like, thank God, like, okay, let's solve it. I've gone to the
I also
founder
prefer to know than not to know. To know and help versus not to know. Yeah, you should continue
100%.
doing that. Helpful.
I literally wrote 3 emails in the past 2 weeks to CEOs of like multi, just
sometimes they're like very angry, and I'm like, okay, wait, I will help you. I'm sorry.
The moment that they escalate me just to 1, I'm like, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna skip 200 levels and let's get this resolved.
Hani, what was there in that growing out that team, and you talk about HR? When did you bring in like HR or recruiter, and would you've done that earlier now in hindsight, or would you have said like later? What do you say?
The answer is I brought them too late, and I would definitely bring them earlier. I think when what you do is at least half of the time you're an HR manager, then you should bring someone. Like if half the time you're spending on HR, then you're you're doing something wrong. And
I love that. Not the number of team that you have, but if you already find yourself spending more than half of your time handling things that are HR related, then you should probably think of bringing in.
feel the need for it, but like if you need a benchmark of employees, I would say around 30 makes sense to me.
Got it. That's great. Very
We
cool.
got someone when we were 60, which was like,
Oh,
no.
wow.
Yeah,
That
that's a
was-
ton. And we've heard the gamut. For the most part, the lesson is the earlier the better, and especially when you're trying to structure what you're talking about, which is that culture and that
Yeah.
vision and all that stuff. It's like you need help with that, and you need someone that can help you continue communicating and building that, whether it's in the recruiting or whether it's in the professional development side of things or whatever the case might be. Our last guest, he got advice from Aaron Levy, who's the founder of Box, and Aaron Levy said to him, like, hire your first hire. I don't think he meant it literally, but he was like, your first hire should be a recruiter. It was kind of like a message saying, like, don't leave that to the end. Like, that has to very much be part of you as the company is growing.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, that's really cool. I'm always interested in that. The other thing that I just want to be able to cover is the partnerships, especially B2B. You mentioned that there are a lot of things in your list of like integrations and this and that you wanted to be a part of, but at the end of the day, you're staying focused and you're dealing with a ton of demand, and you just want to make sure that that one thing that they're asking you for is the ultimate experience that you can provide for them. But have there been partnerships that have been super helpful? Is that something that has helped you drive what you're doing even further? And for those out there that are thinking of partnerships, are there things that like they should keep in mind?
Yeah, so at first, this was actually a main driver of our growth. It wasn't like partnerships integrations, it was more partnerships, like marketing partnerships, where, so the first question I had to our customers, like, where do you hang out? What do you do? Tell me all about it. Do you read stuff? Do you go to conferences? Which conferences? What? And then I started to go after the places that they hang out in and say, okay, do you want to partner with us to do this and this for your attendees or for your readers or for this? And so that really helped us gain lots of traffic in a very organic way. And also it builds trust with the customer, because like they don't know what Snappy is, and like, you know, any solution can come up and say, hey, I'm giving gifts. So why would someone trust me or, you know, acknowledge, have this brand recognition? So they helped us create more trust. They helped us, helped other people be aware that Snappy exists. And then they also helped us create traction, bring in leads and things like that. So that actually was a very big piece of the for initial go-to-market. As we scale, it's small, like it's community and it's small, and it also has a threshold of how much you can scale with it, because it doesn't happen every day and you can't control it. So as you scale, you want to have more control over these things, and you still do these other initiatives with partners, but you also want to trust yourself that you're the only ultimate driver of your growth, right? So then you start opening additional channels that are 100% controllable by you.
Oh, I like that. So why as you scale the whole, like, make sure you're controlling it, and is that like where does that come from? Is that there can be partnerships where it kind of gets out of hand in terms of like what they're able, it's kind of
For us, it was like super technical, where for example, we were doing partnerships with conferences, and then there was a period of time where there was a ton, and then there was a period of time that when there weren't. And then if you depend on that, then at the time when there weren't, you're like, okay, we have no meetings, we have no sales, we're gonna die, right? So you want to make sure that in every period of time in the year, you are covered and you can generate your own growth. You're not dependent on, like, that's just an example. I'm sure you know, if you do other channel partners with other companies, you know, you just don't want to fully depend on others. That's my main driver. But I think, yeah, they have lots of potential. So it should be, you know, part of your tools in your go-to-market.
I love that. And keep it diverse, and also be aware when it's seasonal, because you're going to have gaps on your in your year-round lead generation. Okay, that's really cool. You're going to say something,
I would
Richard?
say also keep it diverse is a general thing that is important for everything. Your customers, your partners, everyone should keep it diverse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
I don't know if Alex can we go into the board?
Yeah, let's do that.
Question. Okay, cool. Yeah, which is tied to as well the fundraising piece. As
Richie's going to ask for your social security.
yes, this is yeah, as you've gone fundraising and you know you're signed board seats, etc., and your board has grown, how has that experience been, and are there any interesting lessons learned over the course of that experience?
I'm sure there's a ton. The main things that come to my mind are, I think it's obvious, but I'll say it anyway, because you can definitely not put the focus on it. But these are people that you almost like marry, okay? You're not really marrying them, but you're gonna work with them for us, it's been like, I don't know, not 8, 7 years or something. That's insane, right? Like, and we just started. There's a lot more ahead of us. So you want to make sure you bring people that you trust, that trust you, that it's not about like the coolness of it that can take effect sometimes. It's about actually bringing a partner that loves what you do and that believes in you and that you believe in them and that you feel that no matter what, they'll be there in the good times and bad times. And like, you know, this is a perfect example. The last few years were not great for startups. The years before that were crazy, right? You want the ones that stick there in good times and bad times and that are there for you. And I think many times that can go in the wrong direction and they won't be there for you. And then that just sucks, right? So avoid that as much as possible and, you know, take people that you truly, truly believe in.
Excellent.
Love that. I want to finish this off with a question regarding the future of corporate giving. So, looking ahead in your space, what I'm curious actually, has AI played a big role within your space as well? I guess in terms of matching and people's likes and all that stuff, and if so, like where do you see this going?
Yeah, that's a perfect question. So first of all, I think AI plays a role in every aspect today. Just enhancing solutions, being able to present better pictures, being able to get ideas, matching people with, yeah, those are definitely things. I wouldn't say in our industry, I have not seen it being the driver. It's like nice additions that can help and enhance the product, like writing a greeting for you, doing all these, like there's many things that I can tell you I can do with AI. At the same time, at the core, gifting, and I think this is part of the magic of it. It's real stuff. Okay. You can AI the experience and make it fun and special and crazy, and we're gonna do all of that stuff. But these are real products that have to move from one place to another. It's operational. At the same time, it requires massive skill and like systems and integrations, data stuff. So there's places where it can plug in, and I think it could definitely have a nice impact. But I would say at the core, I think the future is all about evolving the experience, evolving the type of products that, like, continuing to introduce new and fun products, experiences, other things like that people can give. So once it was just products, then it became swag, then it became services, but then experiences, then it became like there's a breadth of things that can qualify as a gift, and the more you can tap into them, I think that makes you become that one-stop shop. And then the second thing is about the experience and how to create a really fun and special experience. So when you think of what Snappy does, it's all about the gamification of it. So for example, we just launched an AR experience where you do a scavenger hunt in your house and boom, a gift pops and you could choose want in there.
That's
So
cool.
it's the type of things that like the digital world is definitely moving forward, and you have to continue to innovate and introduce new and fun experiences that are the future. And you know, if Apple Vision becomes one day what we think it will, then you're gonna sit and you're gonna have a massive experience in there. So that's how I kind of view it, incorporating it into the digital world in an innovative and a fun way to make it exciting every single time.
For the tech nerds out there, can you make it so that an AI can send you gifts like if it was a human being to make you feel special?
Yeah,
Is that, yeah, right? Isn't that a thing? That could be a thing,
definitely.
right? It's like, here are my
You're just
likes and
missing the person
surprise
who
me.
sent you the gift, right? You can get the gift, but you need someone to send it to you. So that's an AI.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you can just tell one time, set it up, and you're good.
There you
Right?
go.
I think there's something here in what was it in
Her or which one?
yeah, Her, the movie Her, right, of course. No, but in Japan has a lot of, especially
Oh.
when it's like the problems with loneliness and all that stuff.
That's true.
Yeah, like there could be something really interesting where it's kind of like I get presents from
That's
my,
100% a Silicon Valley solution to
you see,
loneliness.
that they'll be interested in. That they'll be like, yes,
I'm
I get
moving back and I'm gonna sell it to them.
it.
Yeah. It's less about the gifts, it's about the fake imaginary friend. Yes.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, and it could, like, it's a gift coming from a character from one of their favorite, like, World of the War or whatever, warlords or one of
Dungeons and
those,
Dragons
yeah,
or
Legends of
Fortnite.
the whatever. I don't know. Pick one of those games. Well,
Most
Hani,
of the gift would be swords. Let's just put it that way.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Hani, I thank you very much for the time. I very much appreciate you like being transparent and just sharing your journey with us and lessons with us. So again, thank you so much. We'll make sure that I'm excited to be able to share a number of the insights from here with the group. Anything to add to that, Richie?
No, thank you very much. That was awesome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the time. It's lovely to meet.